Welcome back to the Basement Workshop. Tonight, special project, going to turn this nice piece of mahogany into a finial, or the top center section of an antique desk. One was lost in the move, so got this one here, and if you can't see the finial inside of it, neither can I. That's why we make it up as we go, but we're going to use this on the lathe and we're going to turn ourselves a finial. First, I want to find the center mark, which I've scribed here on the end of this block, and I use just a speed square on the 45 to do it, so that I can drill a little impression and set it on the lathe so that the point of the live center and the bite will actually grab onto the wood with the teeth. Alright, let's mark the other side. X marks the spot. Safety first. I'm going to use just a countersink bit on this. I think it'll give me a good drive and a good bite for the lathe. I've never done this before, but I'm just going to try it because I think it might be a good idea. Set it in the light. Just for good measure. I'm going to sink the bit a little bit more, just to give you a time. Let's see how that works. Alright, nice and tight. Lock, let's give it a spin. Helps if I turn the power on. Got the shield on, let's start it up. Typically that's the hard part. I can touch it because I fit every side with the tool. So we are rounded over here. Now I can dimension it and then start to imagine how it's going to look. So you take a pencil, you hold it up against the spinning wood. I've got my measuring device here from another one that I've measured out, made sure it was the right length. Hold that up, eyeball it close. It doesn't have to be exact because custom pieces, make it your own. But got the marks on there where to aim for how tall to make this finial, and I'll be carving the shape in now. The major parts of the turning are complete. I've got the shape pretty much how I want. Now I'm going to sand it. Ooh, pieces of wood everywhere. And sand it up to probably about 220, and then we'll be ready to start to darken this out and stain. I haven't decided whether to stain it on the lathe, but I don't think I want to because of the bed of the lathe. I don't want stain on that. So probably sand it down while it's on the lathe and turn it and make it nice and easy, and then part it off, and then we'll move it over to the table and we'll stain it over there. So let's do it. Sanding hardwoods. For the next pass of sanding, I'm going to rotate it in the opposite way to get that sanding nice and even. That is one smooth piece. What we're seeing here, some nice grain work. Solid piece of mahogany. Now this is going to get stained dark. It's going on some antique mahogany furniture, so it's a very, very dark stain, but Man, I think that looks like a nice piece right there, nice and smooth. That I've wiped on pre-stain conditioner. So I'm trying to even out the stain, get it as nice and even as I can. So I wiped it all on, wiped it off, make sure it's even, get that grain nice and saturated. So the conditioner has to sit for at least 30 minutes before you stain, and then I'll be going dark. So this is Jacobin, and just trying to match some of that old dark furniture, the mahogany deep wood, and we're going as dark as I can get on this one. So I'm going to start with that. I have some other options. I've got some Bombay mahogany stain here, which is also a poly and stain in one step. But before I get into any poly, I want to make sure I get the stain deep and dark. So it's getting there, but we're going to try something today that may be a little foolish and may not. I just don't feel like it's dark enough. I know you can see that it looks pretty dark, but if you twist it in the light, you can see where it really gets kind of golden. So the furniture is really dark, like reddish dark color. So I want to make it darker, and I want it to be darker than this stain is giving me. So I'm going to sand this down, and I'm going to mix some of the stain I've been using with some ebony. And we're going to learn, and I'm going to learn by doing. I haven't done any research on this. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but this is what we got. So let's just do it. Let's just find out, because you know what? We can always turn more wood. Since I don't want black getting in the color, and this is almost empty, I'm going to do this one first. Pop culture references aside, this is some rich mahogany. Okay, so if you saw that, it's a little bit of a 320 grit soft sanding, very light, just to knock down the high spots in the stain and make sure it's all smooth. And then another dark stain, because as soon as you touch it with any sanding, it lightens up tremendously, but it's getting that dark sheen, looking really good. Hopefully I'll get a color match as close as I can. I know it's not going to be perfect, but that's the fun and joy of homemade, handmade projects. There you have it. It took me, I don't even know how many coats, we'll have to count it up in the video, but trying to get it so dark that it can match that old mahogany furniture dark stain color. So pretty happy with the results. We're gonna take it over for the presentation, so to speak, soon. So I'll do an update as to how it matches up, but had a little inspiration trying to figure out the right bacon and bourbon to go with the build. So based on a finial for an antique desk, I chose the most antique finial looking whiskey I could find, and that's Willett Bourbon. So let's pour a little in the glass. Remember, power tools are done. No more work on this project or any other project right now. So we're free to have a little drink, a little snack, and admire the work. I do think I could have done a better job with the sanding. It's a little tough to sand, but I was kind of delicate on the sanding because every time you sand it, you get some light spots where that dark stain just gives way to the lighter wood underneath. So I had to be pretty gentle, very light, let it dry a little extra time before I sanded. But overall, it's shiny, it's smooth, it's dark, and it's done. So I'm going to present this along with a couple little gift bottles of Willett that I found at the liquor store. So I think that'll go nicely as a presentation, especially from Bacon Bourbon Build. Outtake. I actually went to the Willett distillery, which is phenomenal. I had no idea that bourbon distilleries, the still houses look like that. They're big and white with windows, but very, very plain and boxy. So I didn't go inside, but whatever comes out of there is delicious. Really good sweetness, very smooth for a bourbon, just straight out of the bottle. Man, look at the glass. I mean, just crazy. So, you can see right there where it is on the top. Measured that with a drill bit. Just took over a set of drill bits and stuck them in the hole to catch. And when I found the one that fit snugly but not so snugly it got stuck, I figured that was my measure and used that on the lathe to make sure the measurement was correct. And we're going to see how it works out, but I'm pretty confident it's going to be pretty good. Otherwise, we got the entire surface area here that was ground flat. With the paring tool, or excuse me, the parting tool, and that should give a nice flat base to rest on too. So this will just keep it centered, and the base will keep it nice and flat, and hopefully it will be enjoyed for years to come. Whereas this will only be enjoyed for minutes. Remember, if you like the videos, click the like button, subscribe. I'll put links to some of the tools that I use, or some of the stains that I used. I'll put links to the bourbon, or at least descriptions of the bourbon in my description below. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just having fun. This isn't my job. It's just a hobby of mine, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks for watching.